Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This episode is going to be about next week's, that's October 27th, Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. But on tonight's show, during the melee with Jarret and Jeff Hardy, the security and agents were in the ring and separating everybody, and tempers were flaring. Even D'Lo Brown and Al Snow were pushing against each other, shoving each other. It looked like they might have had a match tonight. Well, they didn't. So that was the only thing that wasn't reported on earlier this week's results. Okay, Tara, who has not being used, has been left off TNA Wrestling's major events, expressed her disappointment with being left off Bound for Glory pay-per-view, and she's quoted by saying, "It's the biggest event of the year, and I'll be honest, I'm not used to not being a participant or at least a fan fest, but it is going to be a good show, and I wish I was on the card." Tara told Slam Wrestling on Thursday of last week, "And I'm disappointing a lot of fans who are not getting their Tara fix." Unquote. Tara said she's glad to be paired up with Brooke Tessmacher, who she won the TNA Tag Team Championships with back in July. But she said she's quoted by saying she is green. Tara also said that her tag team partner, "I get along with her, and we became really good friends. I think they saw that and said, we want to use her more on TV. What better way than to team her with somebody who can teach her a little bit?" I think it backfired on them because we're both a little crazy. When there are a lot of people talking to us, it's hard for us not to goof off and be loud. I think we both have good chemistry with each other. We're good friends, so it's nice to work with somebody you like. TNA recently appointed Bruce Pritchard as Senior Vice President of Programming and Talent Relations. That's very similar to John Laurinaitis. She hopes this leads to more television time for herself. Since she's been used twice on television in the last few months, that was Tara commenting on that. And she says she knows them very well. Like, she gets along with both Vince Russo and Bruce. She'll be honest, it doesn't really matter. Just hope Bruce uses her more. And she says, "I've worked in the last couple of months twice on TV," said Tara. Well, 2 weeks in a row this week. This week she was on TV, and also next week. In the spoilers. Okay, it was announced that tonight's Impact Wrestling taping they taped it in Orlando, Florida. The air date for October 27th, a Jersey Shore star, Ronnie Ortiz Magro, would be appearing at next Wednesday's taping in Macon, Georgia. Yes, TNA is back on the road traveling. Every other month or so. Okay, Robbie E. received a shot at Eric Young's TNA TV Championship. Robert Roode faced Samoa Joe in a number 1 contenders match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. James Storm defeated Kurt Angle for the title at tonight's event. And Gail Kim, who returned to TNA Wrestling last night as a heel, aligned with Karen Jarrett, competed in a match against Tara. This is her first meeting since 2004, when both wrestlers were employed by WWE. Mickie James will face Jessie Belle Smothers at the Veterans Day Wrestling Extravaganza on November 11th in Duncansville, Pennsylvania at the USANG Hollidaysburg Readiness Center. Also in action will be former ECW original star Shane Douglas. Word that Sunday's TNA pay-per-view, Bound for Glory, only had 92 minutes and 26 seconds of in-ring action. Down from the previous month's pay-per-view. Well, 92 minutes, that's an hour and 32 minutes and 26 seconds of in-ring action for those that don't know your math. Okay, also Spike TV officials reportedly lost a lot of faith in Dixie Carter after she pushed them on the way that they were doing the angle to get the main event Mafia back together last year. TNA spent months of building the angle with Dixie telling Spike that she had Kevin Nash and Booker T lock in. Well, you notice Booker T is now announcing for WWE SmackDown. And also Nash is gone as well. Both ended up in WWE, which led to a no main event Mafia and the Fortune babyface turn on Immortal, ending up with a feud that went nowhere for the most part. Also related to this, Eric Bischoff has more power at TNA these days because Spike TV is working directly through him now instead of right through Dixie. Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett versus Kazarian and Tracy Brooks was originally slated for the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, but plans changed going into the pay-per-view at the final set of television tapings. This explained why the two couples had the verbal exchange on Impact Wrestling a while back, and that credit goes to WrestlingObserver.com. Happy birthday goes to Scott Hall, turned 53 years old today. Well, actually, since it's after 12:30, it's now yesterday. And he had he was on TV's ESPN E60. It wasn't a very good program from what I've been reading about. So you just have to view it, and it's now online, I understand. So I'll catch it online myself and see how bad it really was. And now, what you've all been waiting for, I have two reports for Impact Wrestling for next week. There's not much on this one. It goes into details for the first part of the show, and that's it. Okay, show open with James Storm doing an interview. They're giving him new music. Also, Robert Roode has new music. Which may be not the best idea. He talked about how he watched WrestleMania 3 with his dad and wanted to be a pro wrestler and wished his dad was here to see this. The rest of Fortune came out. Storm said that Bobby Roode was screwed at Bound for Glory and wanted to give him the first title shot. Samoa Joe came out and said that this is Storm going to be, that it is Storm going to be a champion who only gives shots to his friends. Yeah, I can see Joe's point. Given he finished last in the Bound for Glory tournament and loses every week on TV, and that should make him a viable top contender. Sting apparently agreed with him and announced Joe versus Roode for the number one contender spot. And like I said, this is going to air on the 26th, on the one day before the taping or one day after the taping, whichever it was. That sets up the Macon, Georgia show. Rob Van Dam beat Christopher Daniels by disqualification when Daniels hit him with a toolbox. Daniels pulled out a screwdriver, but AJ Styles hit the ring to make the save, and Daniels went to the back. Karen Jarrett, Madison Rayne, Tracy Brooks, and Gail Kim came out. Kim said she gave Velvet Sky a concussion, and she's the best wrestler in the division now. Karen then said that Kim can get a title shot at Sky at Turning Point now. Well, they had a match. Gail Kim, for her first match back at TNA, defeated Tara. And Eric Young defeated Robbie E. to retain the TNA TV title. During this match, Robbie E. and Rob Terry beat down Young after the match. Young said that in Macon, he's bringing Ronnie from Jersey Shore to get back at him. Well, that was on this week's show, backstage segment. Eric Bischoff calls out his son Jarret. Eric ordered Jarret to apologize by the end of the show, and he said it was a prick. And that's all that was that segment. Ric Flair told Jarret he needed to apologize. Jeff Jarrett did an interview talking about Jeff Hardy at Victory Road and no showing a turning point in 2004. Hardy came out and they did another pull-out. Bully Ray jumped Hardy. Jeff Hardy beat Bully Ray with a swanton for next week. Hardy was doing an interview when Jarrett attacked him. Ray was about to powerbomb Hardy off the ropes through a table when Mr. Anderson made the save. Anderson. Bobby Roode beat Samoa Joe with the Fisherman Suplex, so it's Roode versus Storm on 10/26. Yes, it's an Impact. So, if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that the spoiler is that Roode will gain the belt on that night against his tag team partner, and they may have that split there. One turns heel, one stays face. Okay, Bischoff comes out and told Jarrett to apologize. Jarrett refused. Flair came out and again told Jarrett to apologize. Jarrett pushed Flair, so Flair and Eric beat down Jarrett, including the requisite low blow. And now for your second report, thanks to Eric for following Impact spoilers for Wednesday night's tape. Okay, that was last night's taping in Orlando. This report wasn't even there until this morning. I had a doctor's appointment. I had to go give blood, donate blood. Had a vampire's attack my arm. Okay, airing October 27th. Impact opened with a new world champion, James Storm, complete with a new theme song and video. Storm talked about winning the title last week, and out comes Fortune. Samoa Joe also came out and ran everyone down. He wants a title shot. Storm tells Joe he hasn't deserved it. Sting came out and announced Bobby Roode versus Joe tonight with the winner facing Storm at Impact tapings in Macon next week. RVD beat Daniels by DQ. Daniels ended up hitting RVD with some tools to cause a disqualification. Daniels went to use the screwdriver, but AJ made the save. Karen Jarrett, Tracy Brooks, Madison Rayne, and Gail Kim come out. You might say the four bitches of TNA. Instead of you got 4 horsemen, well, you got 4 bitches. Gail talks about leaving WWE. Did she even say WWE? Well, wait till next week's actual show. Karen announced Gail versus Velvet Sky for the Knockout title at Turning Point pay-per-view. And then they had a match, Gail Kim defeating Tara. No other results on that. TNA TV champion Eric Young defeated Robbie E in a non-title match here. Rob Terry and Robbie attacked Young after the match. Young took the mic and said, for the Macon tapings, he's bringing Ronnie from Jersey Shore. Eric Bischoff comes out to call his son to the ring. Eric wants an apology before tonight's show is over. Ric Flair is backstage with Garrett Bischoff and tells him he should apologize to Eric. So there's your different report. Jeff Jarrett comes out and calls out Jeff Hardy again. Jarrett shows replays of the sad match from Victory Road again. Hardy comes out and they brawled again. Bully Ray made the save to lead to Hardy versus Bully Ray. Hardy won the match by swanton. After the match, Hardy was being interviewed by Christy Hemme when Jeff Jarrett attacked him from behind. Jarrett brought Hardy back to the ring. He and Ray set up to powerbomb Hardy through a table, but Mr. Edison ran out for the save. And then your main event match was Bobby Roode defeating Samoa Joe to become the new number one contender and face Storm at next week's taping in Georgia. Roode also had a new song and video after the win. James Storm came out for a stare down with Roode. And that part was different than the previous one too. Like I said, this one's more detailed. And the end of Impact airs Eric Bischoff coming out again to call his son out. Jarret refused. Ric Flair came out to encourage him to apologize. Jarret shoved Flair, and Flair attacked him. Eric Bischoff joined him in on the attack, and they beat his son down. Bischoff and Flair tossed Jarret out of the ring and celebrated to end the show. Thanks for viewing, and I shall see y'all next week's tapings. Or y'all shall see my videos next week's tapings. Peace out. God bless y'all.